What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about Virgin Galactic. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what's been coming out from Virgin, and given everything, where I see things going in the short term. Before I get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So currently it is up 2.56%. Broader market is rallying as a result of some fairly positive PCE numbers, and that might indicate potentially rates being cut sooner rather than later in 2024. So that's kind of a good thing. As far as volume, 2.5 million shares being traded within the first about hour and a half of the trading day. 10.04 million is the average. So today is going to be a little bit lower for the volume. Overall, there has been no news, no SEC filings from Virgin, so it's been kind of radio silent. Of course, they do have at least a window open next week for them to do the next space flight. They've done some PR on it just based on, I guess, where the astronauts are essentially from. So we might have some PR next week that could really cause it to go higher. And like I've said time and time again, they have been completely on point with their operations. I feel like their upcoming Q4 earnings is going to be the telltale sign whether things go up, down, sideways, like loop-de-loop all over the place. Leading up to today though, the technicals aren't necessarily the best. So starting off with it at $2, it is exactly on this S1. So technically it's trading between this S2 and this S1, so flirting with this right now. So $1.79 is going to be that next strong support, and then dependent on what does happen today, whether it closes above or below this S1, that once again will really roll over into next week to dictate whether things go up, down, sideways. Aside from this though, a lot of people really do like the Elliott wave technicals, and I've pointed this out in the past, and I don't think it's any mystery. Just the broader technicals are very negative for Virgin, and the fact that it is failing to really break out on a significant level over the last little bit is kind of telling. So it does have the pivot point being $2.36, and so for as long as it is below that point, it is anticipated to get between $1.44 and $1.58. Kind of extreme. Of course, that would result in a new 52-week and all-time low for Virgin. I don't feel it's really justified, especially based on a lot of the latest ownership. So the 13 Fs have been coming down the pipeline from institutions. You do see a lot of big names increasing their position, one of which was even State Street, right? So State Street right up there, 10% or 10.05% of the float. They have a very big substantial position in Virgin, the biggest in fact, even greater than Virgin Investments. So in reality, big money is quietly accumulating Virgin, but they can't really hold it up for indefinite amount, right? They really need to look for their upcoming earnings just to see what is happening, because in Q3 they did surprise. They raised future guidance for Q4. They did have higher than anticipated revenue as well. I have been monitoring to see if there's any analyst changes. So as far as ratings, there hasn't been anything. I think last one was 16 days ago. Triest, Michael, who does have a 62% success rating and a $3 price target. But as far as earnings per share or revenue, there hasn't been really any changes for estimates. I have been monitoring this, so if there is any changes, I will let you know. But as it stands right now, there's 8 analysts with a consensus of 2.99 million. Forecast, I believe, was around 3.5. So analysts clearly are somewhat doubtful about that. But one interesting point I just wanted to bring up while I'm still on Interactive Brokers, it does show that based on the latest Morningstar report, the fair market value for Virgin being $4.57. So take that with what you will. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. You guys always do your own due diligence. If you are looking for a lot of good compiled information, such as analyst ratings, forecasts, Elliott wave technicals, take a look at Interactive Brokers for all of this information to be completely free. So that's definitely a good tool to have. Aside from that, shorts are increasing about 200,000 shares so far this morning. 22.14% of the free float is being shorted. 81.12 million shares overall are being shorted, and cost of borrow average is 1.5%. As I've mentioned in the past, I do not see Virgin being a squeeze play. I'm just bringing this up more as a benchmark, if anything, and utilization is 76.11%. Moving on to options though. So very optimistic. So $19,000 in calls being purchased versus $27,000 in puts. Sentiment wise, 76% of all the options being done today are optimistic. Of the call options that are being purchased, there is a very strong consensus for it to be above $2 by the next couple of weeks. So not too crazy to note for that. Looking at the open interest though, there is around 2,000 in open interest at that $2 strike price that is expiring today. So if somehow Virgin is able to stay at $2 or above, then market makers are going to have to cover those 2,000 on the open market. So it might cause a little bit of a nice blip on potentially Monday. Looking at puts though, it is anticipated for it to be sub $1.50. And so when it comes down to it, like I said, the technicals aren't necessarily looking the best. I think a lot of big money is waiting on the sidelines just to commit to get into Virgin, just to have that green light, right? Because if they're burning through quite a lot of cash and things aren't going necessarily how they previously forecasted, then yes, this could potentially go down quite significantly. As far as a risk versus reward, I definitely do really like this company. This is why I still do continue to cover it. Currently, I do not have any position. I was actually thinking about quickly selling a put. And for those of you that don't know options, you can always sell, for instance, especially with it around that $2 range, you can sell a $2 put. If it closes below that, then you get to buy it at $2 and you get to keep your premium. If it somehow stays above $2, you keep your premium. So it's kind of a win-win. This is why I really like to do that on a lot of stocks that either I feel like it needs to pull back or whatever front. But I do really like Virgin, and as I've said time and time again, Q1 2024 is going to be hopefully bigger and better things coming down the pipeline, and especially with their upcoming earnings, if they do give good future guidance, then it's just going to be a very, very fast uptrend based on that. Because even if you look at a lot of the analyst ratings, there is some optimism. So even if it gets to the high end right here around $4.50, that's about 130% increase on a return on investment. So that's fairly good for people getting in right now. But then again, even if you kind of zoom out over the last little bit, Virgin has gone down dramatically. Obviously, I don't need to tell you guys that, especially if you guys got in maybe at the $10 range or potentially even higher. Like, it will take some time. If you do believe in Virgin, might best be to average down if you can. If not, just sell options, so sell covered calls. That's usually a good way how to bring down your average. But then again, as I said, I'm not a financial advisor. One final thing I just wanted to share with you though, take advantage of this promo. So even though Virgin is going up, down, sideways, all over the place, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for an account with 𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗏, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So this is one of the best deals in the market. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.